My name's Charlie Ward, and I'm from Thomasville, Georgia, and I'm currently coaching high school basketball at Florida State University School, which is the school that I have on my shirt. But I got into sports at an early age. God blessed me to have um, a great talent and gift, hand-eye coordination. And one of the things that I did as a youngster was I improved upon that. So everything I did, I was in the hallways of my house, touching the doorposts. I was faking, juking doorpost out. I was rolling up socks, throwing them up as a ball, like I was catching it. And so for all that I can remember, I just enjoyed sports. And of course, if you don't know, my dad was a coach, a teacher, so I was around it a lot as well, and it fed into what I enjoyed doing. And so now that's how I got into sports.
You mind if we just jump straight into some student questions while we have you?
Oh, sure.
So one of our kids from France, they wanted to know, can you describe what it's like growing up to be successful as a multi-sport athlete?
No, it's a very good question. What is it like growing up to be a successful multi-sport athlete? Is the question correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, success comes with a lot of things. And success to me is, the ups and the downs, because when you learn from every aspect of life or situation that you're in, you're successful because you learn something, and something you know, I did as a student and also as an athlete. When we look at the accolades, a lot of times we forget about the heartbreaks. And so just going through the different heartbreaks that I had with having a knee injury in high school. My first year playing quarterback, I threw a lot of interceptions, 13 in 4 games or so, something like that, some crazy number. When I was in pros, I had to wait my time to get a chance to play. And, all those times helped build great character, had to understand how to be a great teammate, when I wasn't, being able to do the things that I want to do. But those hard times also were met with, great times, triumphant times, being able to be the quarterback of my high school team, being able to win the Heisman Trophy in college, being drafted in the NBA. But, when it's all said and done, I enjoyed what I did when it came to playing sports. That was essentially the reason why I continued to play multiple sports in high school, college, and then as a profession. I was grateful that I had a job in the NBA.
You make sports look so easy, going back and watching those videos. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't you also play baseball?
I played 1 year in high school, and most of my baseball years were during my middle school days, playing city league.
That's incredible. So we have a question from Santi, and Santi is in Spain. Santi, you had an awesome question. Go ahead and unmute to ask.
As a basketball player, who was the best player you played with, and who was the best player you played against?
Santa, that's a tough question because I played 11 years in the NBA. I also played 4 years in college, and I played with multiple first round picks in college. Sam Cassell, Bob Serra, and Doug Edwards. All those guys were first round picks, and I get drafted to the New York Knicks, and I'm there with Patrick Ewing, Derek Harper, John Starks, and those guys, and continue to play with Allen Houston, Mark Jackson, and quite a few others. Then I went on to play with the San Antonio Spurs, play with Tim Duncan, and Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, for those that are, Spain and France. I got a chance to play with those guys. And then I went to Houston. And while I was in Houston, played with Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming, just to name a couple. And so I got an opportunity to play with quite a few great players. And I also had some great teammates as well that weren't mentioned. But grateful that I had opportunity to rub shoulders with the guys that I mentioned.
Now you've seen the game evolve quite a bit in your career. I mean, you played, in my opinion, in the golden age of the NBA with. I'm biased, but I think that I don't know if the guys in the NBA would do as well if they played back then. But that's just my opinion. So we have a question from one of the kids who wanted to know, because I'm going to bounce around with some of the questions because you have such an eclectic background, both on the court, on the field, and off of both of those. What advice would you have for young athletes who aspire to one day have a professional career, whether it be on the field or whether it be coaching or in some sort of supportive role for a franchise or organization?
Well, one of the things we all have a dream, which was, my dream was to play in the NBA, the NFL, or play professional sports as a youngster. That was my dream. But we all know when we have dreams when we're sleeping, we wake up. And when we wake up, we're back into reality. And so we just have to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to help prepare us, put things in place that's going to prepare us for us to meet our dreams. The dreams may be 15 years from now, but having a great character, having discipline, treating people with respect, hard work, putting in the time and energy to accomplish your goals. Those are foundational pieces that can help you accomplish your dream. Another thing is, building great relationships. I was afforded to have great relationships that helped me accomplish my dream. And so I think it's important when you're looking at where you are right now, are you the class clown? And if you're the class clown, you can also be the class president, because that means you like attention. But if you take that attention and put it in a different direction, you could be, the top of the class. And so I just think, those are foundational pieces that can help you achieve your goals. And each step of the way, there you may change. There may be some things you may change, because believe it or not, at one point when I was around 9 or 10, my grandmother asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And at that time, one of the things that I wanted to be was I wanted to be a bag boy. at the grocery store. But my grandmother said, "Well, son, that's great, but that's not going to help you pay your bills." So I had to think about that. But my heart was being able to serve when it was all said and done. So I just think it's important that you have the foundational pieces and also the relationship to help you get to where you're trying to go.
Thank you for answering that. And you could tell that you had some educators in your background who, just said like, hey, if you're allowed, you can pivot that positively and use that. So we have a question from Guillaume. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Guillaume is in Europe. So Guillaume, go ahead and unmute to ask your question. We'll go with a few more student questions and then we'll let you go, Charlie. Coach Ward.
How do you get college coaches to notice you in basketball?
What was the question?
He wanted to know, how do you get college coaches to notice you in basketball when you're younger?
In this day and age, it's a lot easier than when I was coming up. In this day, you can put your video on social media and be able to send it out. You can also compete on teams that may travel to be able to get noticed as well. But you have to make sure you put yourself in a position to get on that team by putting in the work. Putting the energy into training your body from a physical standpoint, also a mental standpoint, so that you can play at your best when your best is needed. And, also surrounding yourself with the right people to help push you out there. But just like anyone else, there's a school for everyone. Sometimes we get so caught up into the numbers of how many likes we have and how many people are watching us. All we need is, we talk about, going to school, or for me, when I was going through the process of getting drafted, you just need one person to like what you do. But you have to make sure that you make yourself marketable in the sense that, if they need something, you can provide that. And so I just think it's great to be well-rounded. If you're talking about basketball, being able to dribble, shoot, pass, but also being able to defend, being a good team defender. If you're in football, being able to throw, catch, tackle, or block, or whatever the case may be, being able to do that at the best ability, at your best ability, while within the scope of what the team is asking you to do. Sometimes we get so caught up in who gets the glory, whose name is going up on the board, that we forget that we're part of that group. I always talk about, a lot of times I was a quarterback, and the quarterback, point guard, they normally get a lot of the attention, whether it's positive or negative, on the field or the court. But I'm one of. I'm one of 5 in basketball, one of 11 in football, and I have to do my job, play my role. And when I play my role well, the team is successful, and also you get noticed as well. So I just think it's important that we all understand, how to play our roles on a team, and that's a great way to be able to push yourself out there, because if you're doing the right things and your coaches see you doing the right things, then they're going to share that with those that are interested.
Poignant advice, especially for these kids nowadays. Real quick, a few kids wanted to know, growing up, who was your favorite team?
Well, I had quite a few favorite teams. Mainly the ones that were in the championship games. For basketball, I like the Philadelphia 76ers. They were always in the championship. Of course, the LA Lakers were there as well. And those are some of my favorite teams. In football, I had more individuals, but I like the Dallas Cowboys. Growing up, my sister was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so we used to have great battles in the house. Most times, you know, I was the guy who was always crying when my team lost or got picked at. But that was, I guess that's good because that meant I cared for it. But I really didn't have. We watched the Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta Hawks, because we were in Georgia a lot. My dad and the Braves. So we watched their games a lot because we were in Georgia. But I really didn't have a specific team that I followed, out minus the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, you're all over. You guys were all over the place with that. Must have been fun growing up over there.
We're a sports family, so
That's
we're all.
Heinrich is in Portugal, I believe. Heinrich, you had an awesome question. We'll go with a couple more, and then we'll let Coach Ward go. Go ahead, Heinrich.
What do you think is the hardest thing to become a pro? Thank you.
What do I think?
What is the hardest thing about becoming a professional athlete?
Well, I mean, it's becoming a professional athlete is just being in the right place at the right time, you know, because everyone's journey is different. You have some that come from high school, they go overseas 1 year to play, like I think it was LaMelo or one of the Ball brothers, and AJ Hampton or RJ Hampton. I think it's RJ Hampton went overseas for a year to play. Some have gone to OTE, which is a new up and coming league that just popped up 3 years ago. And, you know, you have the G League for some that want to forego their college career. And then you have, you know, college. And not everyone that goes to Duke plays in the league or have an opportunity, or some of the top schools that you know. There's only a few that all actually make it from those teams, and then you have some that go to, you know, smaller universities that make it as well. So there's no cookie cutter answer to being a professional basketball player. It's just a matter of, you know, putting yourself in the right position with your play, your character, giving yourself that opportunity, the opportunity to be chosen by, you know, doing all the right things. And that necessarily doesn't mean that you're going to get chosen, but you want to give yourself a chance. And one of the ways that I was able to make it was, you know, because I played basketball and football in college, and a lot of times the NBA mainly draft on potential, upside, things that they see potentially you could be, you know, 3, 4, 5, or 6 years from now. And I do believe, you know, the Knicks chose me because I had upside from my basketball days, because I didn't play basketball full time, and they saw what I was capable of doing in such a short period of time, and they felt like if we can get in full time, then we could have a positive impact. He could have a positive impact. So they drafted me on upside, and that happens a lot. You see a lot of young athletes getting drafted early, mainly because of upside. Some are very, very talented, but they're still young, and you have to learn once you become a professional. So I just think there's no cookie cutter solution. It's just a matter of preparing yourself for what you say you want and putting the time and energy into making it happen and giving yourself a chance.
Thank you so much for that advice. And so I'll go with one more question for myself. So as somebody, you won the NCAA championship, you won the Heisman, the Maxwell, Johnny Unitas, played in the NBA, you've done so much amazing stuff. When you were all said and done as a professional athlete, and you decided to create the A Ward Foundation, what made you want to go into philanthropic work and giving back?
I mean, it's simple. Someone gave back to me and my wife to be able to help us get to where we were. When we played AAU basketball, Guy McIntyre, Myron Guyton, Danny Copeland, those guys were in the NFL, and we were, high school kids wanting to go to AAU tournaments, and they gave to the YMCA in order for us to be able to have an experience that they didn't have. And so when it was all said and done, God placed us in a place where we could give back, and we wanted to do that. And so we've been able to help, the March of Dimes, Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, FCA, Young Life. We've been able to pour into, a lot of youth character development organizations, and also done some work, disaster relief. We fed the children, did Feed the Children program. So we just wanted to be able to do our part, to be able to give back, because someone gave to us so that we could have the life that we have.
That's absolutely amazing. Sowing those seeds, and I'm sure it's endless amounts of bountiful fruit, given back to so many different communities over the years. So thank you for that continued work. And you guys want to learn more about that, check out charlieward.org. So Coach Ward, before we let you go, is there any advice that you can impart on these kids, whether they want to go into sports or do something completely different? What kind of advice would you have for them as they go off into the world?
Well, I normally talk about 3 Ps, and you can take this with you. You make sure you prepare yourself to be the best that you can be, and every experience is one preparing you for the next experience. Also persevere through the challenges that we have. We're all going to have adversity in our life, and we have to persevere so that we can make it to the next challenge, but also so that we can share that experience with someone that may be going through a similar experience at any given time. So we got to make sure that we persevere through every challenge that we have. And then last, being patient, waiting on what you may want may take time. We're not going to get everything we want right away, so we have to be patient and wait for that time. But while we're waiting, we got to put the time and energy into receiving whatever it is that we're desiring to have. So I just think those 3 Ps have been very essential in my life and helping me through, helping me become the type of man that I am today.
Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us, from kids all over the world, teachers all over the world. I'll go ahead and end the meeting for all, but before I do, can we all say a big thank you to Coach Charlie Ward for taking the time to inspire and educate you guys. Thank you so much, Coach Ward.
Well, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.